On your. First, item of business, we give you the minutes from the February 20th meeting.
I'll make a motion for approval.
No correction or anything? And do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's moved and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, for new business, the CFT Plaza.
No, I'm sorry, that is incorrect. It is
That's it.
the Malcolm Drive Medical Center.
Oh, that's from the old. Yeah.
It's correct online.
Oh, it's correct on
What I printed out was an older version. I do apologize. For Malcolm.
thought maybe I got the wrong sheet. Yeah, you got it, the sheet is right.
That's all right, we'll take it.
I'm not sure which one was the new sheet, but, Malcolm Drive Medical Center. And, want to introduce?
Yep. So this is for site plan 2111. We're asking for the approval of the Malcolm Drive Medical Center. It is a 40,000 square foot medical center. I know that you have it in your packets. I just wanted to bring it up on the screen as well. So our maps have yet to be updated. They are currently working on it, but wanted to bring it up anyway. This here is the 140 Village Shopping Center, and the property has since been annexed since the map has been created, but it's just our lines have not shown it yet. So here's Malcolm Drive, and this is 140 Village Road. So just to give you there are two fronts to this building, so just wanted to make sure that that is your attention as well. Here's our site plan. This is the 40,000 square foot building, 2 stories. There's parking underneath the building as well. Building does front on both roads. And here's our landscaping plan. Going through just those things quickly, but you have the full site plan in your packet. So if there are any questions that you have, just let me know. This is the new proposed elevation that we received from the applicant. This was not in your original packet that went out, so wanted to put it on the screen for you so you could see what was given to us. That Mark gave you an updated one today. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about tonight is the architecture. It is part of the outstanding items that we wanted to talk about. One of the things that we saw in here that we wanted to bring to light is the stone that is on the bottom of this rendering. The reason that I say that is because I did want to include the other elevations that we had that are in your plan or in the staff report that do show the other sides of the building, just so that you can, get a full idea of the building. And from what we had originally, that stone, as of right now, that we know of, does not go all the way around the building. So it's just wanted to get some clarification on that. And so, I'm sorry for this, I'll just move.
I will say, make a comment, no offense to whoever did this. This elevation looked a lot nicer than, just even the colors and all that, than this elevation.
So we wanted to, this year I did include the more updated color that matches the new, sort of matches the new, we think. Although it does still look a little bit yellow in the this year, but this color schemes up here match the new picture that you got from tonight. So also just wanted to bring to your attention the dumpster elevation as well. We always talk about how it should match the elevations of the building. So in your staff report, we do talk about that there are 3 outstanding administrative adjustments that are going to be worked through and processed through our department. None of them impact the conditional approval that we're asking here tonight. So didn't really bring too much attention to it, but like I said, they're all in here. The thing that we do want to talk about is the design of the building. So I'm just gonna, and I apologize that I'm going back, a lot of slides, but the applicant is proposing all this here, a lot of events. And so we do talk to all the applicants that come through. It's just a consistent conversation that we have based on the design preference manual. the variation of materials as well as the variation of roof lines and things like that of that nature. Especially the entranceway, we like to kind of make it like a focal point, if you will. And so we have included some examples. I'm sorry, I can't find the right place for the Zoom link to go. But here's some examples, 412, which is owned by the applicants. We just wanted to kind of highlight how they did it on their other building with more windows and also as well as kind of a different type of entranceway. And we're not saying that the building has to be all brick. We completely understand that that wasn't the goal, but it is to doing varying roof heights, as well as just to show you some of the other medical buildings that are around.
But you're looking for us to do a conditional approval with you all fine tuning the elevations with the applicant, correct?
Sure, and asking for essentially direction, because it is, the applicant has proposed to us what they've proposed. We've come with what we're suggesting, and we're asking for the planning commission to kind of provide guidance as to which direction they want us to go in. And then we can go back, we all can go back together and work together. But yeah.
I think what we're looking for architecture, one of them was, and as Andrea said, it wasn't intended to be all brick. We talked about that with the applicants some time ago, because the cost and expense, and that is just not typically what you see new development happening anyway. But we wanted that base, that brick that you do see, and they did provide that, and then the applicant can speak about that. Hopefully that it goes around the entire building, because that's what we're seeking. It does have 2 frontages. But we are looking at those entrance features, and probably elevated a little bit higher would be nice to try to break up the roof line, as Andrea mentioned, and maybe looking at other materials to emphasize the entrance features on both sides. So that's what we're looking at, and staff is looking at. Again, it goes with the requirements of the design preference manual. The entrance itself does bump out a little bit, so we do allow some level of differentiation between the front facade versus just a straight black facade. On both, I think on both elevations, that entrance feature kind of bumps out a little bit. They have extra, that's good. So that's what we're looking at. Again, we're not looking at all brick, so that's not what we're requesting. I think they've gone a long way with that base of the brick. I do think staff would like to sit down with them a little bit more about the entrance feature.
Well, and it's kind of, I'm just speaking for myself. I mean, I think the direction that this is headed in, it's kind of hard for me to say for certain without seeing, your final plans. But I think if you're asking for direction, at least as far as I'm concerned, I want something that's more in this direction than what was, to me, with this being all basically stucco or ethos, I guess you call it. I mean, I think something along this lines is much more in line with what I would like to see as a planning commission member.
And we agree.
And I think it's a good compromise. You still have, you have 2 different kinds of, stucco or ethos, I guess you call it, with the, the thin stone. And, there's some fine tuning that can be done. But I like the direction of what I see here as opposed to what was on the site plan. Yes.
And correct me if I'm wrong, is the stone that's represented as the material here, is that what was along the bottom of the new rendering, or was that part of the sign?
Yeah, that is what was on the bottom of the new rendering, and it does extend all the way around the building. In addition to having a good appearance, it also helps us functionally. Stands up better to weed whackers and stuff like that with it. Going around.
Yeah, ethos and weed whackers do not go well.
Let me just.
So the other elevations are going to look very similar. Oh. You mind?
No, of course, brought a couple copies. Keep in mind, these have been built over the last year, and this does not show the stone around the building only because that was done.
Oh, okay.
Not on the rendering, but it is in the documents that we have, like where the full construction happened. But the building has a challenge of having 2 fronts. The way the site plan lays out, with the site plan, there's going to be a good number of cars that park here in the front and here. The site falls this way, so we're taking advantage of that by allowing some parking underneath the building and to get out to Village Drive. But we wanted to make sure it's our goal, in order to make this project work, we're gonna have to get some pretty high rents for the area. And we're gonna have to have a high class product in order to do so. So we did not want the other entrance to feel like a second class entrance. So when you come in, it is going to feel like a main entrance to the building. The elevators communicate to all 3 floors. And if you had a floor plan, which I could send later, I did not bring one. When you come into the lobby, it's gonna be a wide, 10-foot wide corridor on the bottom level. So that you're not gonna know that you're coming into it. It's not gonna say you're coming into a basement, you're coming into the main entrance of the building, with the directory and everything else, so that you wouldn't know that you're not on the main floor of the building.
Is the goal all medical? Is that the?
That was a thought with the groups that we have, but we're not gonna limit it to just medical right away. We're gonna see if any other professional services will be there, but we want to be complementary use of the building.
And so the stone you're planning on putting it on, it'll be on all the elevations. Got it.
It's on the hard set of architectural plans that Upton just completed and issued out this week. It takes 3 days when we put it through this color rendering. That's why we want to do so many of this.
So, I'm sorry. So is the coloring gonna look more like what I see here, or
Yes.
more what I see here?
That was more of so that is a rendering. That was a colored elevation, which is all we had at the time we made the submission.
So what we're gonna see final product wise is gonna look more like this from a coloring
It's
standpoint.
gonna look more like that from a coloring standpoint, and it's just gonna have the stone that was done on this updated one on the back here.
Gotcha.
So that was first. This was second. This was third,
Gotcha.
as we worked well.
I like the color. I mean, obviously, this is very like mustard yellow.
Yeah.
No offense to whoever did them.
I think you're limited to some inkjet as well, but yes, it was, this is the rendering that is, this actually did not, when they put it on 3 days for the computer to make it.
Gotcha.
So that's why when we do the colored elevation, it's just to give us a taste of, okay, we're kind of headed in the right direction, then he picks some color, and we say, okay, go ahead and render the those colors and see what it looks like.
Okay. Was there any other questions that you guys had?
Well, if it's, just to finish with our recommendations, and then we can.
Okay.
Do, continue discussing.
Sorry. I didn't-
No, it's okay. So we recommend, conditional approval. One, to obtain the final approval for those administrative adjustments that we were talking about regarding parking and lighting. To obtain the final approval for all signs associated with the project. So, excuse me, to amend the facade of the medical building, to be more compliant with the design preference manual as outlined in the staff report, and to address all outstanding city and county comments prior to the submission of the signature set of bylaws.
Okay. I have a specific question as well.
Well, they may want to present.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, if you want to do your question or.
Oh, yeah, so I was noticing, on Malcolm Drive, I believe you have a nice entrance sign there.
Yes,
Do you plan on, but I didn't, when I looked at the site plan along the 140 Village Road or whatever, there doesn't appear to be any kind of signage there. So just a comment is that I would think you want, even if you don't want something quite as large as that one, I know you have to watch out with the sign regulations and all that. And I don't know what ability, that's up to you guys as far as modification. But because you're kind of functioning as 2 fronts, and I really think you want some kind of signage on the 140 Village side as well. So that people realize you're there.
I think that we probably like to eventually have something there as well. Typically, we're used to being somewhat limited with the signage that we can do. So if it's an opportunity to put signage on the other front of the building, it's probably something to look at.
Yeah. I think that might be something to take a look at, just because I think from somebody driving on that interior road. Would be good to have that identification.
And they would be allowed another freestanding sign, you get 1 per street frontage essentially.
Oh, they are allowed.
So they could have another, but again, it all goes to the amount of signage that's allowed, so I agree that we can certainly work with them, at least the location. And then when they want to install it, they can install it, but it would be nice to have that on the site plan and try to address that now, if they want to, I don't want to speak for them.
Yeah, I just think it's just March, to have that. So because there are two frontages, they can be able to do that with still having the flexibility to have the signage they need otherwise.
The total allowable signage is 600 to 200 times 600 square feet. So if we can stay within that, still gonna, we'll do it, you know, but we gotta apply the ordinance, we're getting it adjusted.
Can you get an adjustment on that or?
Yeah, just anything in the ordinance.
Okay, that's an administrative adjustment. Okay. I would think if there's ever a case for a little bit of a just. Sorry, as a planning commission member, I'm saying this is because you're two fronts, it's an unusual, property in that regard. I think that having, if you needed a little bit extra signage and had to get an administrative adjustment, it would seem to be a case where it would make sense to do that. Now, I'm not the zoning administrator, but it is kind of two fronts. So.
But the zoning administrator does take the planning commission's comment
Yeah.
into account. Well, look, it's-
Yes.
Especially those with good taste.
So there you go.
Another question or clarification, sorry, don't mean that. Just wondering architecture around the trash dumpster, so I brought it up. Just wondering, it was hard just to tell what the material was around it, so just wondering.
Sure, it was another Ariscraft base. And then, the gates were kind of a steel slatted gate that tends to hold up better than a PVC type gate or anything else. We've done PVC gates on our other medical office buildings and end up replacing them about every year or so. Because dumpster guys are generally not too, we've seen a lot of our competitors use a new metal gate that has louvers built into it, usually the same kind of color as the building. So that provides some shielding and also some durability, and then just kind of continue that product in the knee wall portion of the masonry.
Okay. Thank you, I couldn't tell from the drawing, I mean, from the.
The dumpster guys are people that couldn't make it as luggage.
So you found that material to be more durable?
We've seen some of our competitors use it, and we've seen it in some other areas around town, so that's what we have shown right now.
Anything else from staff?
No, thank you.
Briefly, we'd like to leave here today with the site plan, so we can go ahead. Forgive me if I'm telling you stuff you already know, but I'll brief. This is the old National Guard.
Yes.
Obrecht bought it after a long slog through the muck of federal. And what's it going to be, a veterans center? Is it going to they end up on it? Now they want to do this, and they're outside the city, and so the city says you want water and sewer, you annex it. So we annex, so we're annexing, and so we're in for site plan. They're not novices at this. They do over. They own the building next door. Medical building. They lease. They own other buildings. They lease. And I'm saying that because I'm getting ready to say that they are experts at, as you can, I think you can tell, PVC doesn't work, these do, EFS doesn't do this. They know how to do this, and they are not obviously interested in building and investing in a product that will not be attractive to their customers or the communities, or the community. They understand the city's interest in aesthetics, and they respect it. They understand that the design purpose manual is explicit, a suggestion.
I know there's disagreement about that, so
There is disagreement about it?
I believe that staff would say different, but anyway.
The intent of the development design purpose is to present creative ideas, consideration by designers, architects and engineers. Right, probably should be.
Hey, we're not gonna sit here and review the whole thing. The fact of the matter is, so, you know, get to your point of what you're trying to say.
Well, I'm trying to say is that I think the design that we presented and the changes we've made are good and acceptable, will work. And I think that when you're looking at the design preference manual, and I'm not saying it hadn't been done, but I've read it, if you can tell me. My opinion's really strong one. But it's essentially pointed toward the downtown Westminster district. But regardless of that, it requires a look at the context of the area where you're designing. And if you look at this area, and the architecture around this area, this is not downtown, it's on Malcolm Drive, it's a key piece of ground. But you look at the architecture of the shopping centers, of the other buildings around there, the 140 Village, the medical design, this one that we've shown you is very nice. And it's done by somebody that's going to invest the money in. Now, and we have changed, you know, in response to the comments, and I think they improved.
Yeah, but there's still some stuff, I think we're willing to give conditional site plan approval based off these other things being wrapped up.
Okay, what's that mean?
The list right there. Those 4 things.
Be more in compliance with the design purpose manual?
So
What's that mean?
So final elevations, okay, we do not have final elevation. I have the elevations that are in the site plan. We received, correct me if I'm wrong, the staff, I've received this which shows the front elevation, doesn't show all the elevations. As a planning and zoning commission, as I well know, serving on Carroll County Planning and Zoning Commission for years, site plan approval involves the elevations of the building as well. Okay, so if we wanna, if we wanna do conditional site plan approval tonight, based off of those 4 things, we can. If we don't, then we can wait till this is all done and come back.
Can you help me, because I drive by this site all the time. My kids actually go to some of the practices in our building there. And we think about it as well. We want to be proud of this up there. We want to make sure we get it run. So I think what we're really trying to find is get a handle of the timing. The process has been longer than we would like it to be. I understand that all processes have to go, but we bought this in early 21 and have been in for over a year now. During that time frame, construction costs have gone up 30 to 40%. Interest rates are starting to climb. And we had some interest in the building. We've been unable to really pin down some of that interest yet because we really don't know when they're going to be done because we need to start. So I think what our message is we want to work with the city of Westminster. I think we've shown through this whole process that we've been very cooperative in working with the city of Westminster. And we certainly want to get the conditional approval, but also have an understanding of what else is it going to take. We do have elevations that were just issued this week. Happy to send them to you. Now they're architectural elevations. There's no color on them, but they show a specific list of the materials. They show the aircraft going around all 4 sides of the building. We've addressed the traffic flow underneath the building. Part of what our goal is here too is we have to take parking on the other 2. The medical practice, the first of these buildings was built back in the 80s. And medical practices have gotten so congested. I'm sure anybody here has experienced it, where you go in, you sit in the waiting room, and there's 30 people in the waiting room. So the parking load. One of the reasons we wanted to get this site, in addition to help with some of our medical people who needed to expand, is we have about 20 spaces that are gonna allow us to have an average of a 5-to-1 parking ratio through the entire campus. Whereas right now it's only 4.5-to-1, and that actually, those extra parking spaces are gonna be huge for the community, for the center, for everybody. It's something we really need to do. So, I don't want the message to be that we're not being cooperative. We are proud of it. We're proud of everything that we do. We've done a lot of other medical office buildings, medical office buildings have a niche of ours as well. And more practices are going to meet this because it's come such a long way in the last 10, 20 years. Where with lines of rustication, a little bit of coloring, stone based, it's a very attractive product. On the campus of Northwest, I brought this just as an example. We built this about 10 years ago. And working with the hospital, like Rich Health, who obviously has Carroll Hospital as well, they were looking for this kind of building. They even paid us to build the bridge, and they requested that we change it from metal panels to BFAS. This again has the Aircraft base around the bottom of it. Another Class A building that is about 10 years old again, and we're really proud of that one as well. And that one has, for me personally, was the first thing I did when I came to OBRAC. So we've done a lot of the medical office buildings. We really do understand what works and doesn't work. We have 3 stairwells in this building, so you can collapse corridors. Even though it's only a 2-story building for offices, we did 2 elevators because nobody wants to be waiting to get up to the 2nd floor if an elevator is down. So we've done it before. We're learning from our mistakes, and we're really proud of this design, but we also really want to get started so that we can start giving some people some firm dates on when we're going to be able to deliver, when they'll be able to access the space and that sort of thing.
So from a staff standpoint, what is involved here left? I mean, you have to receive the elevations to be able to look at them and approve them. But realistically, timeline,
I would say if we can coordinate next week, we'll be happy to do that, to try to finalize architecture. If they gain conditional approval, it does allow us a lot of leeway for allowing demolition permits to be issued. They can always submit the building permits for review. So I think they can continue through, first and foremost, getting this conditional approval, which is any approval. But now we'll be more than happy to work with them to make sure that at least they can start site work and start working out there. So we're not losing time.
And so I read this, the issues that trying to get some change, we thought there would be an improvement, is we've already done the stone on the bottom, is the accenting the building with some aluminum stone or whatever to, I guess, so it's not the same color all the way across.
I think the aluminum is this storefront, and like at the entrance features a curved wall, which is an upgraded section of storefront to get the glass.
I think that with the elevations they provided, the stone base is a great step forward, and again,
Yeah, I've seen that one.
and that's fine. Again, we're not asking that stone goes up any higher. I think that's a good base for the building. We're just looking at more the entrance features, if we can adjust maybe the height to try to break up
And then the
the.
second thing was the elevations be amended to accentuate the
Yeah,
gateway, which is.
I think we're very
sometimes
close.
they can be faux things on
I will not be asking for brick or stone on the majority of the building or anything like that. It was really the final discussions on the entrance features. It's again, we're going by what the staff report says. Nothing beyond what we're talking about the staff
Is that
report that
the
we finalized.
the reasonable.
And it does sound like one-
workable with-
Yeah,
that needs to
absolutely.
work with staff.
It sounds like the primary one has been taken care of, and that's the stone base. So I think it's really some height elevations and changes to try to address some of those other elements and
what the administrative adjustment process, what is it left involved in that?
that's just holding the hearing. But I wanted to have this meeting, so that's we're having this site as well as about 4 others in December to finalize administrative adjustment.
But if you have the conditional approval based off of your recommendations right here, it gives you the leeway for them to start moving forward,
Yes,
correct?
Yeah.
And the rest of this, assuming that you receive the stuff, can be wrapped up within the next 30 days? Is that a reasonable period of time or?
I'm not sure what, outstanding county issues there are.
Stormwater management is the biggest one.
So you're still waiting for stormwater management as well, which we have.
It's underground, it doesn't affect anything above ground, so
Yeah.
it won't affect the site plan, it's just getting more into improvement. Basically.
Yes, but you're still waiting
We
for
have
that.
concept
Yeah.
approval, that's the details.
I'm sorry.
We have concept approval from, we're just working on the final details and eyes crossing the Ts.
Well, with the conditional approval here. They wouldn't
I
have
think
to
we
come
need,
back.
that's where
They
I
wouldn't have to
They
come
wouldn't
back
have
to
to come back
you.
30 days here.
Yeah,
They
and
just have to deal with their other.
yeah, I would say the primary thing will be stormwater management.
Yeah.
And again, because at the end of the day, the site plan has to be signed both by the county and by the city. We don't get the site plan back to us until the county signs it. And one of the primary signatures is stormwater management. But it doesn't keep us from finalizing our comments and addressing anything remaining. So when we do get the final plan back, we can sign rather quickly.
And correct me if I'm wrong, if for some reason, I think that our intent is to leave it at the discretion of staff as far as once these final elevations come in. But if for some reason, everybody's not on the same page, then that can come back to planning commission next month for approval of the elevations.
We can still, and again, we can still, exactly, we can come back, and if the issue is still trying to get that site plan, we have it, we just remove the elevation sheets. Approve the rest of the site plan, so at least they can move forward the building and just kind of.
What I'm saying is,
So, yeah, we could, if we-
the site plan is fine, it's,
Yeah.
we don't have final elevations.
Yeah, I think I hope we will work it out, but we can certainly come back if the applicant chooses to, if we can't get past a certain element. But again, and we'll, when we bring it back, we'll be for architecture only. It will not be site plan based, it'll be only to look at the architecture if it's necessary. My hope was we don't have to do that.
My hope is that it would not be necessary, because I think we're kind of in the same realm of figuring it out. But
Yeah.
if need be, then they could come back in December. I think their concern is just that this doesn't take another 3 or 4 months. That's what I'm hearing.
But again, with a conditional approval, we'll work with them, and they still have demo, they still have site work, they can still. At least they can start moving forward with some of those elements of the property.
And I think what I'm hearing is the Ariscraft around the base, as long as you see that on all 4 sides, it's kind of address that comment.
I think,
That's right.
I think that is the biggest concern. Is there anything else that staff wants to weigh in?
I think that does address that comment from staff standpoint. It's again, we'll sit down with them with the new elevations. It's just the entrance features. The primary one is trying to change that elevation of roof line, and it's not consistent. I think with the bump outs with the front, with the elevations, it at least addresses the change in facade. So it's just not one blank solid wall, at least it bumps out, so that addresses that design manual. So it really is, maybe it's raising the height of the entrance features just a little bit higher to break up that roof line. It looks like it is a little bit, but we're not asking for something substantial, but again, I think everything we're looking at is doable, especially the bigger one was the base stone, because obviously that is the more costly element of everything we've been talking about.
And it's important to note on that too, that the parapet of the whole building is up a few feet. There's some line of sight. We don't want to see the rooftop. We screen all of our rooftops. So nobody wants to see the rooftops when we.
Are you suggesting, Mr. Depot, that are you suggesting that this is raised like that? Is that what you're?
I mean, it looks like it raised a little bit, but it's
I
kind of,
don't know what your feelings are regarding that, or whether that's, to me, the brick is critically important. I don't know how the rest of the planning commission feels about. You're saying that you don't want a continuous roof line, but it's a flat roof building. I don't know. Do you have any comments regarding that?
We've raised if it's raising a parapet a foot or two at the entrance feature, and we've done that in other buildings as well.
Okay. So,
There's nothing.
I like to look at the building for buildings outside of town, because this is looking more temporary architecture today than some of those. You should have one up there a little while ago that
I think this is very good. I think.
there are too many roofs.
Yeah.
They're just too many.
Yeah.
I know our design plan thinks, say things should go up and down. I kind of like it the way it is. I think it looks trendy, it looks very now, and it's very clean. I think it's a beautiful design building.
So Kevin, what do you think about the roof line comment?
Oh, where you bumped it up?
Yes, I think that's what the staff was getting
Yeah,
at.
it comes up a little.
You would like that, okay. My biggest comments would be, again, you're having the stone around the whole,
In the center area.
you're having the stone around the whole foundation. So that's what we're looking for. If,
You're gonna see when the grade falls down, stone elevation is higher.
yes, of course, because you're holding that along the whole end. So in the back, I'm gonna see a lot more stone.
You're gonna see more stone as it goes down.
Yes. Yeah. If what you submit to staff looks like that, then you have our approval to approve that without coming back to us. That, I don't think we wanna relook at it if everybody's happy. You know, it's just that we just don't have the one elevation to look at. But if everything looks like this looks pretty nice.
So if you can turn that into a motion.
Are
there any other comments? While he's thinking about that.
But again, I think the condition as it is still fine. Those are the primary elements that we addressed in the staff report. One, we're already saying is taken care of by the base.
Yeah.
So it's still, I think the condition is still valid. But we agree and with the planning commission approval too, that one of those issues that we raised is not included.
Yes. Now, and the signage, really, I don't know how the rest of the planning commission feels. You know, I don't know that I necessarily feel that's a requirement. From my standpoint, site plan approval, I just think you're foolish if you don't do it. I was just making the point as far as having done other projects that I think it would be wise. I mean, it's certainly a case where it would be to your benefit to have a sign along that other front. And I certainly think the planning commission has given staff the vibe that we would, even if that involved an administrative adjustment, that you needed more signage. That I think in this case, because it's a dual front building, it should certainly be that way. But I don't feel like making that a requirement per se.
Yeah, had you all thought about it and then just said?
We're usually don't go to signs, so. this is
Oh,
the
yeah.
opposite.
I was wondering.
Comment also goes to what's meaning like the sign permits and things like that that are going to be required for it. I'm not necessarily saying it has to be part of it, but just kind of like a.
We're good, we'll get all permits.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought of that, but I think it's a good idea.
So-
Where it sits.
I'm gonna move, if you're all, did you guys have any other questions?
No, sir.
I will make a motion that the planning and zoning commission conditionally approve the site development plan S 2111 pursuant to the city of Westminster ordinance article 25 and based on the November 17th 2002 staff report and conditions of approval. And I'm going to specifically reference your slide right there because right there that we're looking on the screen, which is one, obtaining final approval for the proposed administrative adjustments regarding parking and lighting, obtaining final approval for all signs associated with this project, and amend the facade of the medical office building to be in compliance with the design preference manual as outlined in the staff report, more specifically in line with what this drawing that was given to us here today. And address all remaining outstanding city and county comments prior to the submission of signature set Mylars. That's my motion.
I second it.
All right, so move to second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Gates.
Please look at your.
When do you hope to start construction? Are we adjourned? I'm sorry.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, I don't know.
Do you have anything else?
I have someone online.
2 months ago.
Few months ago. How long are you anticipating it to take you?
It'll take a year, roughly, from when we get
A
started.
year.
Yes, it'll take about a year to build a building. There's a underground stormwater management facility that has to go in next to the building. There's a big structural concrete retaining wall.
That's
Is a year from start to finish demo, everything.
That's
Within a year.
yes.
Okay.
You know, I think with where we're heading now, realistically, because you don't start in the winter time, and based on how long I think it's going to take to get some of the final approvals. We're hoping to start right as the spring breaks next year and be done first quarter of 24.
Gotcha.
Um,
Do you need, final stormwater approval before you start construction, don't you? Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Do you need it for grading permit?
Yeah, you need that final, I was gonna say, yeah, if you're still waiting on that, you need to get on that, because.
Our plans are sitting for 2 months before they're even picked up. It's going on. Been very frustrating.
I have heard complaints.
And this is meant to be constructive. We're getting permits in Baltimore City faster. On site development for a 222,000 foot warehouse building.
And I know you don't do stormwater, so it's not you, but 2 to 4 months of, this thing will pay a lot of property taxes. It would pay enough, like these taxes, a couple months early, to pay an extra salary for stormwater.
We would happily pay additional review fees for expedited reviews.
Well, but it's an age-old, that's been a 2 to 3 year time.
It's,
I've investigated that potential.
to hire outside stormwater, yeah.
You know, Tawnytown is the only municipality up here, correct me if I'm wrong, that,
You're right.
that does its own, that has its own engineering firm that does stormwater management. Much better, much faster. But anyway.
And the developer puts the money in escrow.
They have an engineering firm that does their stormwater management review and that provides them other engineering services.
The engineering firm that reviews our plans now can do stormwater management.
Yes.
There you go. We use them in other areas. Too.
You could all been involved some of the new commissioners, but again. That's gonna be a while. That's right. Instead for them to get their sea legs.
Everybody's extremely helpful in the office, so I'm not trying to, the individuals there have all been very helpful when we get to it, but it's a. We submitted, and the last submission that we did, we submitted, it sat for about 2 months and the review was completed in a matter of days.
Yeah.
But it's that 2 months, especially when regarded, they had to settle at auction, bought the property. Interest rates are going up, so we continue to carry it, can't do it.
I'm assuming you're building this with a line and then have to do permanent financing.
Floating rate.
I know. I've not done something quite this large, but yes, I know your pain. Yes. Yeah, because gosh, if you could have fixed the rate a year ago, if the building was done and you could have fixed the rate a year ago, you'd feel a lot better than you do today.
Yes.
But this too shall pass. Though I know people think it will not. But
No, it's, we've been around long enough, personally, we've seen.
Yeah.
This and we. We're still excited.
Not fun with.
But it's.
Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we have other stuff, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
What else was on our agenda?
If I may, Chair, I have a report from the county. He was sick.
okay. I didn't know if you could be online, okay.
So quickly, comprehensive rezoning, the Board of County Commissioners completed their work session with the text changes that and held 2 public hearings in September. And they're gonna reschedule, or they're scheduled to discuss the proposal again in November. The 2022 spring amendments to the 2019 Carroll County Water and Sewer Plan was approved by MDE on October 7th. The full amendment is on the department webpage. The 2022 fall amendment to the 2019 Carroll County Water Master Plan. Planning has been received consistency letters from 3 of the 4 providers. We did sign our consistency letter tonight, which will be forwarded to the county. That vote was taken, that consistency discussion was taken last month in October. There's a note that the planning department is not processing a 2023 spring amendment, as the goal is to complete the 2022 triannual update by late spring. See, Transportation Master Plan, the Planning Commission began reviewing the draft map on October 5th. Chapters will continue to be presented at the regularly scheduled meetings. And the 2022 Carroll County Hazard Mitigation Plan, the county's Departments of Public Safety has submitted the 2022 Hazard Mitigation Plan to MDEM and FEMA for review. The next step is to wait to see what those agencies' evaluation state. And that completes my report. That's very important because that regulates our FEMA and rates as well. So we have been in contact with the county as that process goes forward too.
The amount of money that you get, you know, for if there's an emergency of any kind, you need, you know, all your resources need to be in that plan.
It allows for grants as well if need be. We don't have a lot of floodplain in the city, but again, it does allow us to,
So that's a report you're happy to put together.
yes.
It's not as faithful as some of the others.
The great thing is the county's taken a lead on that, which is always wonderful, and our part was very minor, just really updating, making sure we feel we were okay with their proposal.
All right. Any other participants online or need to say anything? No.
Karen? Yeah. Karen's been quiet,
Okay.
which I guess is good.
Well, do we have any member comments?
No.
Mm-hmm.
Any additional staff comments?
Yeah, just real
Okay.
quickly, I just wanted to remind everybody that next week is Small Business Saturday. And we are continuing to do our Small Business Saturday Passport Program. So we just gave out 5,000 passports throughout the county. The city has 6 new businesses from last year, which is really exciting. And so the program goes from Small Business Saturday, which is the 26th, to December 11th. So people have 2 weeks to go to 8 different businesses, get a signature, and after their purchase, and if they do, they are in the running for a $50 gift card. So we're giving away 20 of those.
And we bumped it up to 2 weeks. It used to be 1 week, so we extended the time frame, which I think is good. We also, which I'm surprised Andrew didn't mention, maybe where I just cut it off. For Westminster businesses, we did provide a window cling with a QR code that takes you to the website that lists the participating businesses. So that is something that you'll see on the participating businesses. As that's the first year we're trying this, I think it'll be something we'll continually do.
Great. All right, hearing nothing else, I guess we have a motion.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second.